Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the 78th Emerging Growth Conference and day 2 of our 2-day virtual investor conference. I'm Anna Berry. Just a few notes. Today we're running until 4:30 Eastern, and when we switch to the next company, you'll see a black screen for a moment. Don't go anywhere. That's just us moving over to the next presenter. If you experience downtime, refresh your browser. Everything usually works properly once you do that. And our platform does work best on Google Chrome, so if you're watching from an Apple device, you have to hit the play button to start the session. Now, all of our conferences, they're uploaded to our Emerging Growth Conference YouTube channel. Please subscribe. And today, during each company's presentation, you can submit questions through the webcast module, and we will attempt to address as many of these at the end of the presentation. One last note, after today's event, you'll be redirected to the registration page for our next conference. So stay on or come back to reserve your spot early. I'm happy to introduce our first company today. It's Tytonyx, a private company with a clear vision to make the regulatory process easier with their agile quality management system. Welcoming today the director, we have Jim Snow. Hi, Jim. Welcome to the conference.
Hi, how are you? Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for watching.
The floor is yours, Jim. Call me back when you're ready for questions.
Okay, thank you. My name is Jim Snow. I'm a director for Tytonyx. In short, I have over 30 years of healthcare industry experience, from clinical operations to medical equipment distribution, M&A work, biologics, and medical devices, including a lot of regulatory and compliance experience. My background includes being part of 6 startup companies, 5 of which had successful exits, 1 of which is still active. So I've been involved in the investment part of startups in particular, most of my healthcare career. Tytonyx is a dynamic new company based in Portland, Oregon. And let me make sure I switch the slides here. It's dynamic based in Portland. And we started in late 2023 by Roma and Dana Schusterman, 2 medical device and regulatory experts who have realize that the medical device industry has a lot of challenges with traditional compliance. I have that experience myself, having been very involved with bringing at least 3 products through the 510K process and running into all types of problems and frustrations trying to get them through the regulatory process, and then maintaining the regulatory documentation needed after the product was approved. Submissions and audits are of medical devices, and the documentation has significant errors and are prone to a lot of errors. 60% of medical device reporting requirements have shown significant problems, and studies have shown that the average 510K approval process takes 174 days, almost 6 months. The mean on that sample was 150 days. So it's pretty consistent. And also failures cost companies hundreds of millions of dollars in damages, financial damages each year, because of recalls and product failures or documentation issues, which cause the products to be held up from marketing. Tytonyx solution is that we have developed an AI-driven guidance platform that can be used during the creation, modification, and the maintenance of companies' quality management systems. And when preparing to submit their documents for approval, this reduces the amount of time to market. Our system also continually oversees our customers' QMS systems and regulatory changes, ensuring ongoing compliance throughout the product development lifecycle. So the product quality is improved as well. Proactive risk assessment by using AI to monitor the regulatory landscape and to provide new regulations to identify and mitigate the risks involved with maintaining their quality management systems and bringing products to market. We can also apply these solutions to both US and EU-based companies. Companies are looking to go into other markets, such as a U.S. company going in wanting to get a CE mark to be able to sell their products in Europe. Our software packages continually monitor the FDA, regulatory websites, and controlled content on the web, and provide users instant audits of their QMS systems. We can actually create QMS systems for companies, monitor them, and FDA submission packages audits before and during these processes, using all current available data. Our QMS package provides for automated and instantaneous QMS compliance tailored to the customer's needs and regulatory standards that they are looking to comply with. If they're going for an ISO 13485 certification, or they're just trying to adhere to the basic medical device standards, we can tailor that to the customer's specific needs. The Tyto AI, as we call it, will also do gap analysis of the customer's QMS and send them the results, and we'll suggest updates and changes to their systems and their documentation. We also created what's called Tyto Chat, which is a free service to users so that they can ask basic questions, and we'll provide them basic answers to their needs. We hope that this will build a sense of community within the FDA regulatory landscape, and also build early adopters to our systems. Due to our AI assisted, we're the only company out there that has an AI assisted software. Others say that they do, or they use some type of AI, but ours is the most robust in the industry right now, and no one else can provide the key features that we can. The key is providing users almost instant access and proactive updates to the regulatory changes that they may be needing to adhere to, and make sure that their QMS systems are up to date. Our features save companies time and money on these processes like no one else does. I'm sorry if I'm going through this kind of quickly, but I've got a lot to present. I want to make sure I have some time at the end for people to ask me some questions, if there are any. We see the target market is being quite large. The TAM on this is over $10 billion, and our SOM at $350 million. There are in annual revenue. There are over 60,000 medical device companies out there in the US and the EU with a 5% annual growth rate. So as you can see, the market is quite large. Our goal is to capture 10% of the new business market, because these are new companies coming on board that most likely will be most interested in using our system to ensure compliance. They're obviously in a very strong new product development mode, and they need assistance with their compliance to make sure that it's being updated on an hourly basis. Our system will constantly look at various FDA and regulatory requirements and update these systems for these companies almost instantaneous, and provide them updates and suggestions. We have three basic products. The first one is the Tyto Agile QMS platform. This provides customers with a comprehensive QMS for medical device companies and also will provide them constant monitoring of the regulatory information. We also provide an internal audit program. This audits the customer's regulatory and compliance documents in QMS. From personal experience with a company I'm involved with, we spend up to $20,000 a month in monitoring and auditing our QMS systems on a constant basis. Not only this doesn't include the people, time, and efforts that are necessary to do this. We also will provide a submission package audit process for 510K pre-submission packages for potential errors and emissions to improve the chances of and reducing the timeline of these products being approved and going to market. Our QMS platform is an annual subscription program which will generate ARR. with the internal audit and submission packages being individual package revenue models. We really believe that we can conservatively attain $30 million in revenue by 2031, reaching our initial account penetration goals by that time frame as well. We require some additional investment to further test the agile QMS program for release and to start work on several new product enhancements and expansion services to establish our go-to-market program and be able to create our sales and marketing teams. As you can see from this graph, after the initial capitalization and the expenses associated with that, our revenue and cash flow projections are quite significant. We see that the company will have very little cost of goods on this, as most software companies do, and our ability to maintain this is very minimally from an expense standpoint. These are kind of our funding and our milestones that we're working on. One of the key processes that we're going through right now is that we are comparing actual 510K submissions that have gone through the normal FDA approval process, and then taking those and running them through our QMS and our 510K submission software. We have found so far that we have found more inaccuracies in some of the 510K submissions that were approved than were found by the FDA submission examiners. This may seem like having these medical devices needing a lot more work, but we believe that our constant compliance review and the efficiency guidance ensures that nothing is missed, thus greatly improving the chances of these companies getting their submissions approved the first time and reducing the possible long-term problems with their QMS. It should be noted that about 30% of submissions to the FDA or 510Ks don't even make it past the initial review of their submissions. So there's quite a bit of problems with companies submitting 510Ks and making sure that they get through the process as quickly and as painlessly as possible. A sample of again, we did a sampling of some FDA submissions, a very large sample, and it showed that 69% of the submissions took over 90 days to be approved, with an average submission approval time of 174 days. That's in addition to all the time that was spent creating it in the first place. So that's an awful lot of time and money spent on trying to get a product approved and through the process. So we believe that our system really will reduce that and save companies a lot of time, money, and frustrations. We've been working on going to market with our products in Q3 of this year, and we've had several regulatory consultants already interested in using our products to enhance their own customer experience. They would use our product to help companies get their 510Ks done, improve the management of their quality management systems, and set up a monitoring system so that they can more easily help their customers through this process. We also see the FDA itself as a potential customer. As mentioned before, these are the four of us that are really the key people right now with the company. Our founders, Roma and Dana Schusterman, both have extensive backgrounds in medical devices and the regulatory requirements as a CTO and a regulatory executive, respectively. So they have a deep understanding of the challenges of medical device companies, the need for a better system. Hence, they started Tytonyx. I've had that same experience, having been in medical devices and been involved with the regulatory aspects of putting together medical devices and the QMS systems and managing them, and they're painless. They're very painful situation, and we're trying to make that a little less painless for these companies. No one knows this stuff very well, and it's very complicated. So we know that we have the right team, the right platform to do this and be a a great help to medical device companies, and help them bring their products to market much more quickly than they may have in the past, and also at the same time monitor their QMS systems so that they don't have problems down the road. They're going to get that inevitable FDA inspection and of their documents, and they better have them in shape. Otherwise, they run the chance of being shut down and other products being recalled or asked to be recalled, and they can no longer do business. So it's a major problem for every company out there that's doing anything in medical devices. Our financing needs are twofold. We're looking for a $400,000 seed B right now to do the final testing and the launching of the submission audit package this summer, and finally is finalizing the document control aspects of the software. That's what our current needs are, and in long term, we're looking for a $2.5 million in Series A funding to expand the sales and marketing operational support of the company, and to fully launch all the products and get ISO certification and start also the development of an ERP. We can do a certain amount of that right now for companies, but we need to be able to interface with their ERP systems. So it's important that we be able to provide that service long term. That's all I got for right now. I appreciate very much your time and attention. I got through that a lot faster. I'm sorry if I went through that very quickly, but I'm excited about what Tytonyx has to offer, having been in this industry for a long time, as you can tell by my gray hair. That it has a lot of opportunity to make dynamic improvements and cost savings and time savings and frustration savings to medical device company manufacturers, as well as various regulatory companies out there that might be involved in this business. It's not something you come out of the womb knowing, and it's probably the last thing you think about sometimes when you got a great idea for a product. I've been involved with companies that have can develop a great product on the back of a napkin over a bottle of wine, but going through this process is very painful, very time consuming, and very expensive. And it really hinders the ability of companies to bring products to markets in many cases. So I appreciate your time. I'm available, through for questions afterwards, or people that might be interested in learning more. I'd be glad to share this with you and tell you a little bit more about the details of what we're creating.
Great job, Jim. Thank you so much. We do have some questions for you, and we have some time. Let's jump into a question from Ed. He says, I see you're private. Do you have an investment bank involved currently? And are you planning on going public?
No, we don't have an investment bank that we're working with right now. It's all been very mom and pop, I guess you want to call it. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just that we're early stage. And I would think that a public offering would be, it's always something to keep in the back of your mind. It's a little too early for us to think about anything like that. We certainly would be interested in having discussions if someone felt that was the best way to do that. I recently did that with a spinal implant company that I'm involved with, where we went public on the Toronto Venture Exchange in order to give investors that have put up the initial funding some, a liquidity and or ability to exit if they chose to. So it's certainly something to think about. We consider anything if it made sense.
Perfect. And Tom asks about the company's growth to date. How old is it, and what milestones have you achieved that make this viable? Plus, how many products has it facilitated? So 3 questions: how old, milestones, okay, and what products?
Well, we were started in late 2023, so we're still pretty fresh. We've developed one of our 3 major products is ready for launch. We're going through some final testing of it testing it against. I mentioned to you, we're testing it against. It's the 510K submission package, audit package, and it is going through some final testing. As I mentioned to you, we're going through some getting some 510K submission documents for products that were approved by the FDA. And by doing this, we're looking and comparing our audit findings for problems that may exist with the submission packages and comparing to what the FDA found. So far we found that we're finding more deficiencies than the FDA examiners did. So we expect to be able to we want to go through 4 or 5 more that we're working on so that we can create a white paper to discuss this and have it available to our customers as part of our marketing. So we have that package done. The other 2 packages that we have of products are almost fully developed. They'll be ready to start selling at the end of again in the 3rd quarter as well. So we have our 3 main products. We're always looking for enhancements to them. We're always looking to cast a wider net with them, and so they're constantly under development. But we've developed these 3 products. They're done. They'll be ready to market in the 3rd quarter of this year. So we're very, very close, and we've done that with just the seed money that the founders put in, and been able to do this on a shoestring up to this point. But we need additional funding to expand further.
And Ken asks, with a TAM of 10 billion, are these existing products, new products? And then a follow-up: once a product is approved for use, is there any further revenue you can generate from it?
Well, yeah, the TAM is the entire regulatory market out there that people are using to manage and regulate, and consult on various types of regulatory and compliance matters. We can certainly expand. Our plan is that we have ideas of expanding more into providing more services over time once we have these 3 products up and running and working well. As I mentioned, our revenue model calls for our agile QMS system to be a subscription model where it will generate revenue, reoccurring revenue every year, because these companies need these medical device companies need constant monitoring of their QMS system. So our system, our product will do that, and it will be a subscription. So it'll be ongoing revenue from the consistently these same customers, and then we'll be able to offer other products on a one-time use basis, a licensing basis.
And a question about the revenue. Art wants to know a little bit more about what your revenue model is and how many verticals are there?
Let me go back to sorry, I'm going back to one of our. So this is this is the revenue model. The QMS subscription model is their QMS monitoring that we will do. That's set at $30,000 a year, which I mentioned earlier is a bargain, and is compared to I've been involved with a company that's been spending $20,000 a month. This is $30,000 a year to continually monitor their QMS systems. And then we have packages that will look at submission audits and also the internal audits. They're one-time packages that they would use. Not that they're using just one time, but it's a one-time deal, not a long-term subscription model.
And with that, how cost effective is it for a new product of a company that might not have revenue to work into your budget?
Well, if you're talking about a medical regulatory company, a medical device manufacturer, they're not going to generate revenue until they get their product approved and on the market. So they're more than anybody, they're the ones that need this type of system. We will be able to get their product to market faster and cheaper, and then they can start generating revenue, which obviously will generate revenue for us, hopefully not only on a one-time basis, but on a long-term basis by using our subscription service.
And Eric wants you to explain what AI-driven assistance means. How exactly does AI help with the process, and what does it save in terms of time and money?
Well, our AI assisted software is constantly looking out at the whole regulatory landscape, whether it be FDA regulations, other regulatory and monitored and websites and other data that's out there that are reparable. We don't look at trash, and we'll constantly monitor these regulatory sites for updates, and if it relates to a particular customer's needs, it will then tell the customer that they have a new regulatory process that's coming up that they need to be aware of. For instance, recently, over the last year or so, there have been increasing regulations regarding monitoring communications, online monitoring of communications with a medical device, something that's communicated. For instance, if you have a medical device where you want a doctor to be able to monitor what the medical device is doing, say it's electronic, and the doctor is monitoring that in a remote setting, how do you manage the safety of that so that no one else can get into that monitoring of that device and no one can change how the medical device is working? There's much more strict. That's a great thing for doctors to be able to do. Everything with remote medicine these days, it provides a great thing, but you have to monitor it. So there has been increased regulations on that, and our system will allow, through its AI of going out and searching for this stuff and being focused on it, it can help a company avoid potential problems, and it will let them know that there's a potential, maybe not a problem, but there's a new regulation coming down that they need to be able to be aware of. I don't know if I explained that properly, but hopefully it's a complicated,
Yes.
that AI stuff is above my pay grade, but that's why
I understand.
we have a lot of software engineers that are working on that and monitoring that all the time. So AI in this particular case is a good thing in that it helps go out there and proactively prevent problems from happening and pushing things through faster.
And a last question for you from Jeff. He wants you to explain a little bit more about the Tyto chat and who would use that feature.
The Tyto chat is a free, through our website, you could go on and you can ask any type of regulatory question, and we will give you some basic guidance. So whether it be a startup, a new medical device, even someone that's been around for a long time, or a consultant. We've been working with a lot of regulatory consultants, and they can go online and ask a simple question. It's pretty basic, but it gives them some guidance as to what to look for to answer their question if they have a question about something. So it's a free service. We're trying to build some early adopters, give them some free information, and it also will provide users a sense of community that they can ask a question without having to pay, some consultant, a lot of money to be able to get it done. It won't go into the detail that our software packages provide, but it will give them some guidance.
Wonderful. Well, Jim, thank you so much. Great presentation, and thank you for joining us. And we look forward to following along with your updates.
Again, yeah, thanks very much. I appreciate everybody, watching this, and certainly I'd love to talk to you more if you're interested in learning more about the company and what we have to offer and how we're going to really hopefully change things in this marketplace. I appreciate your time.
Absolutely. All right, everyone, stay with us. We'll be right back.